Hi guys, today I want to bring you with me to talk to you a little bit about fixed grammar. This is the new edition. I noticed that there's a few changes and I have talked about that before previously. If you want to check them out, I will leave that link in the description box for you guys. I hope I remember this time. But I would like to just talk to you guys about the importance to just follow the sequence, meaning using the new edition. I would like to talk to you guys a little bit about that, so I will see you after the intro. Hi friends, today I want to bring you with me to just talk a little bit about fixed grammar. This is the new edition of fixed grammar. This book, I noticed that there's a lot of changes, and some of those changes I think that are important to just go through them, meaning not skipping this new edition of fixed grammar. If you are new to my channel, I would like to welcome you being part of our friends here on YouTube. I would like to just say thank you if you have subscribed. If you haven't, I suggest you to do it, and being able to click the icon bell so you don't miss every time I upload a video. I think that's very important. But today I just want to discuss the reason why I think that not skipping the new edition of fixed grammar is important. So in here I have the new edition. This is the student book, and I am happy that I decided to continue by using the student book, even though we went through the book of the nose tree, which it was the previous edition of fixed grammar. I am happy that I went through Town Mouse and Country Mouse, that I decided to go with this book, because I noticed that there are a few changes as well in the way that they just do the work within the fixed grammar, and it's been causing a little bit for my kid to stumble a little bit with some of the work that he has to do with the book. With that being said, that doesn't mean that we haven't enjoyed the program. It's a program that we have enjoyed. It's a program that has been helping him a lot when it comes to grammar, and it's a program that we're going to continue using. I just want to just express this and let you guys know, because I think it's very important. If you haven't worked with fixed grammar, or if you have with a previous fixed grammar, and you know, a lot of moms decide not to go through the new edition, and because it was said that the previous fixed grammar was advanced. And I would like to give you some reasons why you still should go through the new edition, the Town and Country Mouse. Okay, so I would like just to open this book and show you guys that, first of all, there's no cards that comes with this fixed grammar like the previous edition. It has the vocabulary cards on the back. You don't have that with this fixed grammar, but you do have the option to just purchase the vocabulary cards. And we received those cards at the beginning when they launched that they were going to be having the cards separate. They offered these cards free, so I got mine free. But if you're interested in purchasing these cards, I will leave you the link down below so you can go ahead and purchase them. But that's one of the changes as well. The way that they work with the program is different. They are not needing to use anymore another notebook. With the previous edition, you had to use another notebook to just make note of the vocabulary cards. Your kid had to use another notebook. With this new edition, you don't have to use another notebook. You will write that vocabulary in here in the book. And I just want to show you a little bit more about this. So I will be switching the camera and I will be showing you guys. Okay, you guys, I hope you guys can see this well. So in here I have some of the work that my kid has done. At the beginning, I was just having him make note of the vocabulary and the definitions of that vocabulary in another notebook, just as we were doing with the previous edition of fixed grammar. But with this edition, you have the space to write it. So what I make him do, and you will see that eventually, is that I have him writing that definition writing here on this line on the top. But I noticed that by going through this Fixed Grammar, this new edition, it was important because some of the ways that your kid will make mark and label the parts of the speech are a little bit different compared to the previous one. And while I did create a video showing the differences, I still have to say that it was just at the beginning when they put out the program. So I didn't notice as well that there were other differences that I would like to point out and that I think is very important, especially if you went to the previous edition and you want to make up your mind in between just jumping through the next level or just going through Town and Country Mouse, because like I said, it is said that the previous edition was a little bit advanced. I don't know, I kind of disagree in regards to that, but I would just like to show you guys. So if you notice, so far everything is just simple. You notice that they have to mark in here 1 vocabulary, 2 articles, 4 nouns, 2 capitals, and 1 end mark. And we refer in regards to that, I see that it's a little bit easier in that way because it's already in here for them to look what they have to identify in the sentence. The parts of the speech that they have to identify in this sentence is as well marked, the vocabulary, because it's in bolded letters. So it's easy for them to identify that. But when you go a little bit up, when you continue going and you continue learning more, they continue learning more, you can see that things start to change a little bit. The way that they lay out these is beautiful because it's easy for you to understand as a teacher and for them to understand as well. So no problem in regards to that. When you keep on going, is when things start to get a little bit more complicated because they have to obviously look a little bit more. They start with a preposition plus noun, no verb. They start looking for the capitalization and mark, and you can see that it's increasing on the material that they have to be labeling. And while it's helpful because they have it in here, once they go past, I will say is week 5, things start to get a little bit more complicated. You see that it has more for them to do. They have to look for the conjunction. They are as well looking for everything that they were looking previously: articles, noun, coordinating conjunction, 2 prepositional phrases, 1 who-wish clause, 2 subject-verb pairs. And this is something that is new for us. With the previous edition, he just have to label the verb. And in this edition, the way that they explain this is a little bit different. Even for the who-wish clause is a little bit different. So I think that not skipping this edition, this new edition, is important because your kid will stumble a little bit with this. At least I have seen my kid a little bit confused, and he's really good at grammar, but he's been a little bit confused. If you notice in here, he marked who-wish clause in here and he forgot to mark the subject. And here in this edition, it's just it's telling the kid that they have to mark the who-wish clause here on top of these parentheses compared to the previous edition. So here he has a verb and he has a subject here for who, and then he has the who-wish clause, compared to the previous edition where they just have to add the W for the who-wish clause on top of the word, correct? So that's just already something different. And they talk about as well about the infinitive, which is something that it was not really talked on the previous edition. So that's something there that is different, that I consider pretty different. If you notice, he started just writing the definitions of the bold words in here. There's some decorations that he made. But in here, again, the same is just increasing on the material. They're adding as well subject and adjective. So you will see that they are labeling quite more. So you have in here the preposition, adjective. And the way that they show the preposition is not as previously. I noticed that in some of the sentences, they are not adding the actual preposition word in here like he used to do with the previous edition. As well, I noticed they are marking when it doesn't need a comma like this. So that's something new. And he's been working very well with that. It's been a little bit confusing when it comes to the who-ish clause. He keeps making the mistake of adding it on top of the word, which is it could be a subject, so he has that too there. He's forgetting to put it on top of the parentheses, so that's something that I noticed. Obviously, like I said, what they have to label, while it's easy because they have it in here and they can see if they're missing something, is increasing quite a lot, correct? So he's marking in here. If you notice, they have subject pronouns, so that's different from the previous edition. As well, he has in here a verb that he marked as an adjective. And let me just keep going. Let me just show you guys a little bit more in here. When it comes to the quotation marks and end marks, it's just different. They have to add these when they think there's not supposed to be a comma in there. So that's the symbol that they will be adding, which is comma here. Coordinating conjunction, adjective. Here you can see that he had a little bit of issues with this sentence. He added a noun and he thought it was a subject. In here he has a subject pronoun, so he forgot to add the subject. This is something that I don't know if it was because if it was the first book from the nose tree, but it was just a pronoun. They didn't have to add these like these, a subject pronoun. It's just quite different from what he used to do with the first edition, with the previous edition. So here you have the who-ish clause again that he just marked it on top of the word, and you have it in here that it has to be on top of the parentheses. They're doing subject verb pairs, which is something that he was not doing with the previous edition. And I think it explains that in here. It says a subject is a noun or pronoun that performs a verb action. It tells who or what the clause is about. And it just explained to them in here how they have to do that. And it actually gives them a sentence for them to refer to be able to just look how it's done. And on the teacher guide, you will have instructions. They will give you instructions as well on this side that you can just add to help them understand what they have to do. But it still is quite different compared to how it was before. And we noticed that. I think that going through this edition is important because of that, because the way that they are explaining things is quite different. And I think that's why I see a lot of moms expressing that their kids are having some type of issues just identifying some parts, or they don't understand why that word works in this type of way and why not. The instructions are within here when they start to do the lesson, so it's very important that you go through that as well. Before, previously, you had on the previous edition a part where it says advanced, a part where it says I'm not quite sure, but it has a lot of details on what was happening if they label a word that was actually not really to label in that sentence, but if they label it and they did it right, well, it was good. It was something that they knew, and it was an advanced concept that this one doesn't have. But if you notice, it always will have in the teacher manual, which I don't have in here, I'm sorry, but it have a square where it has the instructions of the reasons why they were labeling that word and why not. And it pretty much works as the advanced. So I think that kind of works in that way. But it does have that section in the teacher manual where you can see the reason why they are labeling that part the way that they are labeling. Let's say you think this is an adjective, but it says it's a verb. Well, in that section of the teacher's manual of the guide is giving you the explanations and the reasons why this word is actually an adjective or a verb, or whatever the reason it is that they're considering, or how that word is working in this sentence. I hope I am expressing that and you guys are able to understand. So it is being a little bit, I think it is a little bit different, and it is important for your kids to know that it's not going to be, especially if your kid has worked with the previous lesson, that they are going to encounter things that are going to be different. If you don't go through the new edition and you just jump and go straight ahead to the second book, you might stumble a little bit, because there's some different ways for the kids to identify the parts of the speech with this new edition. Okay, and again, all what they need to be looking at is in here. In here they will rewrite the sentence correctly, obviously, and in here I've been using this space for the definitions. If you notice, it keeps increasing on the things that they have to identify, and you can see that it has sections for them to review. That's very important. That is something that I consider this new edition actually better, because while the other one did have sections to review the grammar, I noticed that this one is a little bit more fun. It has different activities for them to review, and I have shown that previously when I just did a comparison in between the new edition and the old edition. So you can see the instructions, what you had on the other on the previous lesson, the glossary, you kind of have it here. Once you come to start a new lesson, they are having those concepts in here within the beginning of the lesson, the instructions for the beginning of the lesson. So you can see that in here they have the prepositional phrases. In here you can see, I don't know if you guys notice, that when we start the lesson for week 3, it has the prepositions list in here, and it has as well some instructions for the capitalization and the M mark as well. If you come here on week 4, you can see that I have instructions for the subject, and everything is giving you all the instructions in here, as well as the list for them, linking verb list, helping verbs list, and it have a space for at the end of the book they can write that as well. But just to let you know that what you found on the other book on the glossary area, you're finding in here within the lessons. So just be patient with that. So that's one of the changes. Something that I did as well, and I would like to show you. Give me just 1 second. I will be switching the camera and I would like to show you guys. Something that I did as well is that I did vocabulary cards for my kids with the words that are in here within the fixed grammar. And I decided to do that because I didn't want to purchase a vocabulary program, because I think that was going to add more to what we had already to do, and it was going to be counterproductive. I think that since we have in here vocabulary within the program, what a good way to take advantage and just using these same words that we have in here, and it just helped him with review for vocabulary, new vocabulary, and as well it just helped him with the grammar, because once he goes then to the book, well, he's going to know what those words mean in that sentence. So it is helpful. They can see how as well they can put that together, and it's helpful as well when he's going to be doing writing, because then he can just use those words that he's learning with grammar with his writing, since we're using IW, which is the same company that we're using for fixed grammar. So what I did is I create these word cards, and on the back of the cards it has the definition. I don't have them in here, but they will have the definition. I create some already and we've been using them. I cut them already. I just wanted to show you how I did it. So this is how I organize them. And I just put some little symbols in here, nothing that has to do with the word, but just something to decorate and for them to have a little bit of fun while they're looking at it. So that's how I use the vocabulary words. I don't purchase any vocabulary programs. I don't purchase any other vocabulary cards. I just create my own with what we have here with the fixed grammar, the same words that we are using with the fixed grammar. Those are the words that I am using with him just to review them. I try to sometimes have him doing some sentences to see if he knows how to use them, or I make him rewrite the sentence that we are doing with fixed grammar just every now and then, just to make sure that he's understanding the definition of the word. Sorry, I had a phone call, but as I was saying, that's how I decide to use these cards, is by having those words, transfer them in these cards, this cardboard, and just doing vocabulary with the same vocabulary that we're learning with fixed grammar. I think there's no reason to add another program. I think it was going to be counterproductive. There's no reason for me to purchase a program when I have vocabulary in here that I can use and I can just review with my kid, and it's going to be helpful with his grammar and it's going to be helpful with his writing, since we're doing a theme book from the IEW company. And I think it is very important because in this economy, we're all tight on our budget. We want to save some money. And what a better way than just using the vocabulary that you have within this program, not having to purchase another program that you don't know if it's going to actually be working with your kid. And as well, you are reviewing those words and they're able to just familiarize themselves with those words, and it's helpful for them. So I decided to create these cards, and I create some of them already. I didn't want to show you guys that ones because I cut them already. I wanted to show you guys how I create them. So this is how I did it. I just used this template and I just write. I went through my teacher guidebook and I just wrote these words in here, and the definition will be on the back. So that's how I did it, and I just grab a design and just add it there, and that's easy for me to review those words. It's a good idea. It's saving you money. It's getting them familiarized with the words that they are learning already within the writing and within the grammar. If you're using IW, and if you're using any other program, you can add those words that you're using with that other program to the ones that you're using with your fixed grammar and just review them. It's a good way for you to save money and at the same time have them expand their vocabulary and being able to work with that vocabulary in a way that they can create sentence. They are understanding what they're doing. You can add a journal for them to just add and work with those words. Add something else, like I said, a sentence. They can draw what they think it is that word means. And it's a way for you to make sure that they are learning correctly the definition, that they know how to put it how to put it to work in place. And it is important that you have an idea and that you know that there's ways for you to create and expand that vocabulary without having the need to purchase a separate program. With the fixed grammar, I hope that what I told you is helpful. I do think that it's important having the kids go through the new edition, because if you notice, there are some differences. And I heard a lot of moms already complaining that they don't understand well the dynamic with this new edition. And I think it's because you're jumping from the old edition straight into the new edition. And if you are going straight towards the second level, because it was said that the previous edition was advanced, and I'm just saying that it's helpful if you go through the new edition, the Town and Country Mouse. Even if you did the nose tree, I think it's helpful. If your kid is really good at grammar and you think it's good just to jump this one and go straight to the second level, well, that's your choice. But I am just saying that your kid might not be able to just grasp on the new way of doing things with the fix the grammar, and that is going to take time. So that is the reason why I decided to go with the town and country miles, and I am glad I did, because I noticed that he's been encountering a little bit of troubles in the new way that he has to identify the parts. With example, in here you can see when they are doing homophone and they're doing the interjections, they have to identify right in there. I don't know if your guys are being able to see that, but it has the subject, verb pair, as well they have the pronoun, and they have the interjections there. So they have to identify. One word can have all of those labels on top of the word. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it is important that you guys have your kids probably going through the new edition. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. If not, if you don't agree, or if you agree, you can leave those comments down below. That's fine with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You found it valuable. And if you did, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you then. Bye-bye.